good to be up here. Woo! We are Carrie and Craig, and Ravi and Arti. We're so blessed to be up here with one of our favorite couples. We love speaking with you too, and always learn so much from Ravi and Arti. But we have a powerful topic, and we want to hit every single one of you in the audience today with what we have to cover. We get to talk about turning points on the journey. And one thing that we collectively discovered is that we've all had many, hence the plural, turning points. And so at every season, every stage, you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have moments of doubt and disbelief. And we want to go through in terms of different seasons and stages of business and how you can think about maybe pitfalls or hurdles you're going to go through. And what are the lessons to extract so that it can actually perpetuate you on your growth journey. And it can actually be a benefit in a lot of ways. In terms of wisdom, actually creating wisdom. So we broke it out into 4 different seasons. I can promise you every single one of you are in one of these seasons right now. Do we have some new launches in the room, new IBOs? Congratulations, you're stage 1. Stage 2, people engaging in the habits. People engaging in the habits and starting to actually do activity. Anybody in that season? Congratulations. The 3rd season, the 3rd stage, is really engaging in a work habit and working to create skills. Congrats, there's a few of you in the room doing that. That's my personal favorite, one of the best stages. The last stage is actually creating results, being able to create results, being a performer, and actually having strong leadership to bring to the game. So, Ravi, why don't you kick us off? Stage 1, new IBO. Tell us about the season for you. How did you overcome ups and downs?
Well, thank you, Carrie. I mean, it's just been an honor. We love Craig and Carrie. Craig is my favorite guy. I like to talk to him, and he just, he can be funny and witty. But I'll tell you one thing, and I remember walking in, seeing people like Craig and Carrie on the stage as a new IBO. One of the things that I had to overcome, even though my background is electrical engineering, I did my master's, I did my PhD, published about 18, 20 papers, and I felt I had done a lot. But when I came in, I started to compare their today with my today. And that created a lack of worthiness. It's like almost like a fear of success. It kind of paralyzes you. Like, can I ever be that good? Because I was already good in some other arena. I had to learn that I'm a beginner here. And I had to give myself grace. So I remember coming into these functions and events and seeing these people talking like, Michael talked and Pankaj and Archana, so polished. And I was like, I can never do that. And that's when I had to realize that what I was lacking was the education, the kind of the journey that they had gone through. And they were ahead in me, in the journey, they were ahead of me. And I had to give myself the grace and lean into those habits. Sometimes I think Michael talked about that progress compounds. People just underestimate what they can accomplish in a day, or overestimate. But they underestimate what they can accomplish in a year. And those habits will compound. I've seen that in my own journey, and that's what helped me out the first 90 days to 120 days, immersing myself in this environment. I remember going through multiple audios. It was not like a one audio. It was, if anything was playing, it's going to be an audio all throughout. Or books. It took me a long time to develop the habits, but that's what helped me out a lot.
Well, for me, when me and Ravi got launched into this business at the stage 1 in the business, one of the things I really struggled in terms of having take a lot of other people's opinions towards us, because as Ravi mentioned, he came from a background who had a PhD, had a very successful career. And for me, I came from an accounting background, had a good corporate job, and we felt like we were all set in life. And that's how our family and friends kind of looked at us. And they were like, hey, you guys are doing very well in life, you're making good money, good life you have. Why do you really want to go out and trouble yourself and get an extra additional income for yourself? And I think that part kind of, the opinions that they kept giving us kind of did not help us. It actually slowed us down in this business. And the reason that, I came out of that was because, from the system, we learned that you always check the fruit on the tree. We saw our coaches, we saw our mentors, what kind of lifestyle that they were living. It was not just about the money, but what their value system were, what their core values were, and how they were engaging with other people. And they were actually willing to teach us and guide us what to do, right? And those were the things that kind of really helped me to understand that I have to see who is actually going to speak into my life. Or do they have the similar goals or dreams that that me and Ravi wanted? And we choose to do that, and I was able to overcome from the wave that other people had opinions or giving us opinions.
Yeah.
And
Changing our reference point. But
Yes.
Craig, why don't you share? What was your challenge that helped you change in the stage one?
All of them were my challenges. How's Atlanta doing? How are y'all doing tonight? So I launched, just to give you a quick background, I was a risk analyst in the banking sector, commercial banking sector. I was making $34,000 a year. I lived in a 500 square foot convertible bedroom apartment. Do you know what a convertible bedroom is? It's when there's this little elastic thing that you pull out when you want a bedroom. And my mentor showed up, we started to talk, and he engaged, and my biggest challenge is, like, everyone was from India. And I was just like, what is going on? Like, everybody was from, like, India. Everybody.
Thank you for changing that.
Yeah. So here's what I saw. I saw an opportunity to create the life that I wanted. And I don't know what's more paramount than that. So now the question becomes, if you're going to run a business, if you're going to start a side hustle, if you're going to create supplemental income, choose wisely. Because I'm a former commercial banker, and I had 50 clients, and they were all multimillionaires at one point, but there's only 2 or 3 of them who were multimillionaires. That's lifestyle that I wanted. It's a tip. And more businesses fail than survive, so you got to be real smart with how you're going to allocate your time. And this is the thing that I tell people. There's a formula for middle class. Go to school, get a good job, work, save, work hard, get promotion, save a little more, spend a little more. That's a formula for middle class. Upper middle class, just keep doing that. You'll end up like Michael and Kelsey and a lot of the other sharp people on the stage. But to actually develop and learn the skills. Okay, and we'll come back to that. So back
That
to
was
Karen.
Craig's, that was your turning point right there, the mindset shift. That was robust. You took us on a
Is there
journey.
a turning point there? I don't know.
Took us on a journey. Okay.
Yeah. You're welcome. Me and you, bro. I don't know about the rest of these yahoos.
He got you.
He got me. We're cool, bud.
So my early journey, I was a basically college graduate at that point. So different season of life than the rest of you to some degree. And the big component for me when I got around this room of very high achieving, strong professional background business owners was I realized that I needed to figure out how to have a net positive and not be a liability. Because I was extracting more from the environment than I was able to give back and contribute. And so that was a season of my business where I had to look inward a lot. And I haven't stopped, actually, because that's what business ownership will do to you. It makes you look inward. It's an inward job. And so this really technical, quantifiable concept called your fickle factor. Your fickle factor. Who and what trips you up? And I can give you examples. My first year of business, running errands with my girlfriend, and I'm next to her. She knows I run a business, and she goes up to the department store and grabs cosmetics in front of me. Digger! Oh. Or the family member who gifts you the skincare products when they know you run a business with your own brand. More diggers, right? And we can give so much power to other people. It affects that factor, that F factor, right? And the cool thing is there's 8 billion people on the planet. Now, back when I was your age and I was there was only 6.5 billion. I had it a lot rougher than you all.
So much more opportunity.
But here's the kicker. the light bulb moment, the turning point, the lesson we're working to give you all is realizing I did not need to rely on one specific human being to grow my business. And that changed so much for me in terms of mindset, attitude, and mood. So transitioning to the next stage, Craig, you want to jump into
Stage 2? Yeah, I got it. I'm going to stay in my 90 seconds. Okay, here we go. So now you're committed to the process. You're engaged in the activities. Congratulations. If you're not there yet, I hope that you figure yourself out and get there. Now you can be counted on. People can count on you and you can count on other people. That's how life works. Imagine being in a family where you don't do some of the habits. Doesn't work so well. So what I was extraordinarily uncomfortable, and this is unique, and this is why I love this environment, is I had people that would hold me accountable to my own values. And that is priceless. Because I sit up here with someone who's PhD from fancy universities and smart folks like this, and it's like, okay, like they're on a level intellectually, educated-wise, whatever it might be, career-wise. I love that. I love that I have to aspire to that. And I also makes me really uncomfortable. Anybody get what I'm saying? And what happens a lot of time in our first 6 months or year is nothing's happening on the outside. You're just like showing up, doing things. You're not actually doing a whole lot, but the emotions are like this because you haven't developed the muscle yet. I remember when I first started meditating, it was like 5 minutes was like an eternity. Now like a couple hours is like no big deal, but I had to like work into that. And so if you're finding that uncomfortably and all those emotions are going all the time, that's a good thing. That's a signal that there's an opportunity for growth. And instead of pulling out, what you want to do is lean into the people who can hold you accountable to your own values. That's what I feel like our responsibility is as coaches. Hold you accountable to your values. Next, stage 2.
In stage 2, like Craig was mentioning, when initially, as I got launched into this business, I remember getting launched into this business with a lot of low confidence and low self-image. Not that I come from a corporate world and everything, but nobody actually taught me how to act confident or speak confidently, because those were not the classes that I took in my college years, right? So when I came to this community and this environment, one of the things that I really appreciated was there was already an educational system or a platform built in for people like us, people where we could actually grow ourselves, create some great habits for ourselves, and actually excel into that area. And those habits were as simple as reading and listening. Imagine if you keep listening to something nice and keep reading something nice, you actually increase your vocabulary. You actually increase the way you communicate with people. And over the years that I've been in this business, I've realized that it not only just helped me personally develop myself, but actually it has helped me to develop a skill where I'm able to connect with other people. And initially, when you come into this environment, you're like, oh wow, getting into this habit is very tough because we are so programmed into having our own life. So we kind of get confused but you should just discipline yourself for next 90 days and actually get into a habit system where you're listening, reading, and associating, and all these things are actually going to help you not only build yourself, but allow you to build your business to the next level too. So,
yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Aarti. This is and kind of what Craig talked about and what Aarti talked about. I remember when the habits and when I started seeing value and everything. There's always that what if. In my mind was, I'm putting the activity on an outside. I'm a good IBO. But inside, I'm compromised. It's like 90% mindset. It's like, if you put 90 cents in a Coke machine, okay, that needs $1, what do you get? You lose 90 cents, right? And that's where I was. I was doing it, but I was operating with, the fake Kraken belief, operating with fear almost. I was trying to do the activities, and I'm doing my ditto. I'm coming to associations, but there is somewhere in my mind I'm operating with fear, not faith. My attitude towards everything. When you have a flat tire, or when you get a speeding ticket, you kind of like small things, but it makes you kind of just really rattles you up. And I remember that people go through big things, and that's what I had to realize that CEOs are CEOs because they are big problem solvers. Big things don't bother them. So I had to really build in my emotional resilience. And one thing I learned is that, like Craig talked about, it's not going to be a straight line, folks. It's going to be an up and down. We talk about 3-step forward, 2-step backward. You're going to go through that messy middle. You're going to go through that doubt. And doubt is a human emotion. It's okay to experience. It's just not okay to act on that doubt. I had to go back to what are my core values, and I had to remind myself. So this is where I think Craig mentioned, Arthur mentioned, the coaches, the accountability, the relationship. Sometimes people pull away from that. I started to pour in because there was nobody else who was unconditionally investing in me, constantly giving the best of their, with no guarantees. None of my upline coaches who was talking to me and giving me game plans and believing in me, there was no guarantee. There was nothing that if I quit tomorrow, that they would be like, there would be a return. But they were giving me. And I said, you know what? That's the kind of relationship. That's the kind of people I want to hold myself accountable to. Because even though there's no guarantee, they give me their best. And that helped me out. That relationship, every time I spoke with them, they just filled me up. They filled me up. They said, you're on the right track. Keep at it. Do it. Go out there. Start to speak right. And that really, those words, I said, I'm going to hold on to this than the doubting words of my inner voice or the people around me. That helped me a lot.
A lot, yeah. And back to Carrie. A lot of people confuse feelings with thinking. It's okay to have feelings. It's okay to think. But don't get confused because you're feeling a certain way. It doesn't necessarily change the facts about the business model and the system.
Yeah.
You care?
Yeah, I think in terms of habits, a lot of people treat the habits like an a la carte menu. And people hide behind the habits they prefer over the ones that are actually the growth opportunity on an interpersonal level and as a business owner. I did this, so I know this happens, okay? The other component is people think they need more time. I thought I needed more time. Most of you actually need less time. It's the amount of time you have that is the plight. Because you know what you spend most of your time doing, if you're like myself and probably all of us up here in our own way, is overthinking. It's how do I be an efficient and effective steward of the time I've given to really engage in the habits that are going to grow my business. And I hung out on the mountaintops of personal development for a while and thought I was building my business. But what's the most effective way to actually create growth is the expression of the personal development out on the field. Creating a bed of work, doing networking so that you can actually have something to be coached on. And that's the powerful transition then to the next stage of skill development. It's not just to have habits, to have habits, to have habits, to keep doing more habits, right? It's because you want to grow skills. So understanding what the agenda of habits is so you can make the transition. So in terms of growing actual skills, do you want to kick off, Craig?
Yeah, see, most of us are addicted to looking competent. Like we always want to look good. We want to look smart, right? That's why I'm sitting in the middle because my hair got messed up in the back. And Carrie's like, you need to sit in the middle.
You're a middle seater too.
Yeah, they would not let me sit on the end because someone might see the back of my hair. I fell asleep. Okay, anyways. I'm okay to look silly in the process of learning. And that's what teenagers do. That's what toddlers do. That's what we ask our children to do it all the time. And then all of a sudden, the reason our circle gets small, our skills are small, is because we want to always stay in our zone of competence. And I would encourage you all to look foolish. You don't have to be great. You can learn to be great. Yeah, I've said that a million times. Sorry. Okay, my team's like, Craig, you said that a million times. Okay, for the guy on the right, congrats. Doesn't do you any good if you don't use it. True? Okay, let me wrap this up. To get results, you have to have a lot of work. Like one thing I did well is I put in a ton of action, like a crazy amount of action. And most people are taxiing the jet. You're on the runway going 30, 40, 50 miles an hour calling the tower going like, it's not working. It's like, no, you got to get enough lift. You heard the traditional business owners talk up here. Like, we didn't design this. This is created by the Big Bang, the universe, God. Like, it requires work. But you can have a lot of fun with it if you put a lot of action and you have a feedback loop and you're not attached. Your self-image is not so fragile it's attached to how you did because you did 3 meet and greets. Now you're free. Now you're free to live and actually go do what you want to do based on your values and say, I'm going to learn this skill of networking. I'm going to learn the skill of building teams. Yep. I'm going to learn the skill of connecting. Because maybe you're good at it, but maybe you suck. And that's why you're repelling people. We don't know. The market will tell you, though. The market will tell you. So go do some work, learn that. And then the last thing is if you're getting into a pattern where you're struggling to do the work, I'll share this. I'm done for the talk. Patterns can be changed. When we have a pattern and we introduce a new behavior, it creates a new pattern. So if you want to shift your work ethic pattern, there's something in your life you want to shift, just insert a new behavior and then revel in that because now you've already changed the pattern. And then just play it out. Don't let go. Don't let go.
Yeah. Come on, guys. That's amazing. And to kind of tee off of what Craig mentioned, this is when I started to do the work part of it. First thing Aarti and I do was we realized that all pros in any industry, including ours, if you look at athletes, they have boring routines and they have glamorous lives. Don't look for glamour in your day in, day out activity. So we enslaved ourselves to our daily routine. Like daytime, when we're going to go to work, we'll go do a work and we'll be an amazing employee. But at 6 o'clock, we'll plug out and we'll just be an amazing IBO. And the reason sometimes people do that, and I remember I had to play this mental talk. At 5:30 exactly, I felt a little bit, I want to stay longer at my work. At 5:30, 6 o'clock. And I want to justify that so I can be a good producer at my work and do more for my family so that I don't have to go out and meet people. So you start playing this mental game. And I did that for the first few months. But then I had to tell myself to stop doing from what it requires to whatever it takes. And there came a time in our business, we were like clockwork. I wouldn't even go home. We bought a couch, a brand new couch from Rooms to Go for like $1,000. We were living in an apartment. And the only people who sat on the couch were candidates. We never sat on the couch. I told myself, I'm not going to go to the home. Aarti will meet me outside at 6 o'clock. We'll put on our favorite audio and we'll be out. And we won't come back home until we have enough conversations and enough numbers. We wanted to just make sure. And for 9 months, I remember we were just cranking this thing up. Did we have launches? The answer was no. Did we have our people quit? We didn't have people, but our uplines quit. Our uplines. I saw them one after the other kind of drop out of the radar. And did I create doubt in me? The answer is no, because somewhere I realized maybe they were not putting the effort. And that common sense, nobody can keep reminding you. You got to start developing that on your own. You can't be told by an upline, don't worry about him, don't see negative across line, don't see negative. You are smart. You're an adult. People do all kinds of stupid mistakes outside. So why do you have to nitpick on the negative here? Why can't you look at the positive? See, a winner only needs one reason to succeed, and a loser needs 100 excuses. You just need one reason. So the reason I'm saying that 9 months of doing that, and I remember this, some audio. Apple took 5 years or whatever number of years and billions of investment to build the first iPhone. But once they got one, man, they could start to mass produce. I said, even if it takes us a year to launch our first IBO from C-list or whichever list you're working in, once we nail that skill, that's it. It's go time. Now we can go diamond. Now the only person that has stopped us is Ravi and Aarti and our work ethic. That's what you need to say. If it takes you 12 months, 18 months, 20, who cares? They don't ask you when you go Q12 that how long did it take you to go Achievers? Oh, we'll give you less money for the air ticket. Sorry, you took longer. No, it's the same treatment. And that's something that we had to change. We decided first prototype. If we can build that, we can nail it. You want to just...
And just to add on to that, every day was a process. Every day was a process of us going out there, doing the activities, learning from the activities, and building our strength and weaknesses, right? We kind of identified what our strengths were, what our weaknesses were, and then started building on our strengths and kind of, understanding that how we can fix our weaknesses, right? And as you continue doing that, I think in the journey, you actually not only just build yourself up, but it actually helps you to start creating results, because you understand that if you're good at certain things, you'll keep doing those things over and over again, and then eventually you will start getting results, right? And that's exactly what me and Ravi did. We made sure that we worked on our strengths and we continued to push through our work ethic so that we could actually start getting results into this business. And one last thing which really helped us to put things together was to always, bringing the A game into the picture, right? We always made sure that our attitude was always like high. We made sure that we were in a process, or one of our core values became that we're never going to stop learning. We're going to continue to learn. We're going to continue to grow. We're going to grow in such areas that we didn't thought we will grow. Right? And when you kind of have that kind of an attitude, I promise you, life becomes much easier, because then you're like, you know what? You're in that phase where you're creating excitement for yourself. You're always eager to talk to people. You're always eager to get to know what other people are doing, and you're going to stay in the creative stage of the business. So those were the two things that kind of helped me to start creating results into this. But Carrie,
We'll pass it to Carrie to wrap it up and bring us home.
Yeah, so in terms of that third stage, enough effective action to create effective results. Trusting the lag time. It is going to take time to develop skills and effectiveness, but it's enough work, and that is dependent on each and every one of you and your starting block. So my suggestion is learn to appreciate and find gratitude in your specific journey, because it's going to look different from everybody else's here. Bring joy and gratitude to that space, not entitlement to timelines. The last stage, which is developing leadership, becoming effective, very quick wrap up here. Please be inspired by the results that you can create and the ways that you can help people, but don't be so inspired by yourself that you forget to be humble and stay teachable on how to move to the next stage of business. And that's the beauty. The transitions, the teaching points, they never end. And that is why we're all here. We're people, we like interesting things. We like to be challenged. We like to grow. We're here because at every stage you get to keep looking inward, being humble, and work to get better so you can be a better leader and help more people. So with that, we love you all. Thank you, Ravi and Arti, for conversation. Back to the host.
That was awesome.
For the calendar year 2024, the average income from